Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Roland K. Smith and I spend too much time on the internet for a living. The Australian government wants to introduce a law that would force companies like Facebook and Google who use media publishing companies' content to drive traffic to their website to have to pay for that content. If Google and Facebook can't act like grown-ups and negotiate a deal with those media publishers, then the Australian government's going to put on its big girl pants and force a price that they have to pay. Next minute, Google's saying this law is going to break the internet and they're going to pull out of Australia forever. Facebook is saying that they're going to stop users from sharing news content on their website. The Prime Minister of Australia says that we should use Bing. Bing. It's all very dramatic, but it's not entirely without precedent. In 2019, European copyright law made it legal for publishers to seek payment from Google and Facebook for sharing their content, but these laws are apparently seen as weak and not really followed. And in France, courts have paved the way for Google and publishers to start negotiating. And these will be based on things like amount of content posted and website traffic and stuff like that. Spain tried something similar, and when Google refused to make the payments and Spain tried to force them, Google just pulled Google News out of the country entirely. Now, presumably what Google is trying to avoid is some sort of precedent where governments and media organizations around the world can start asking to be paid for using their content. However, Google's parent company, Alphabet, is valued at a cool $1.4 trillion, which would probably mean that any payments they have to make are just a drop in the ocean. Now look, I'm going to level with you here. I am not a copyright lawyer. I am a marketer and a video producer. So my understanding of copyright law is probably not up to scratch, but what I do understand is that if you're making money off somebody else's work, you need to pay them for that work. The best example I can think of is a song being used in a television commercial. A chip company uses a band's song to make a bunch of advertising. That advertising helps them sell a bunch of chips, they make a bunch of money, and then so they pay the band some money for the song that they used. Seems pretty fair. But here, Google is using media publishers' content to direct users to the media publisher's website, where presumably they'll make money through subscriptions or advertising, whatever, and Google has to pay them. But then Google makes money selling ads, and people go onto Google to search for the news that they want? I don't know, it's complicated. And by the way, we're just talking about Google using just a little bit of news. They're just using like a headline and maybe a little photo and one or two lines. They're not actually using the whole article. So it's not like they're ripping off the news site. They're still directing you to that channel. Now, I am all for people being paid for their hard work, and journalists are doing it particularly tough right now. But attempting to charge Google for directing people to your website seems kind of like a tough sell to me. And if media companies are now being paid by Google for their content appearing in search, then shouldn't anybody that creates content that appears in Google search be paid money? Like, I don't know, your nonna's bolognese recipe or your dad's old funk band. The bill is currently in front of the Senate and the law is expected to be passed soon, but for now we'll just have to take what Google and the Australian government are saying at face value. I will leave links in the description down below to Google's official statement and the bill from the Australian government so you can check it out and see what you think. I don't know, I'm conflicted. People should definitely be paid for their work, but Google is providing a service that means that more people do see their work. Is it just working for exposure? Is this the 2021 version of that? I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. Until then, keep doing what you're doing.